Okay. I'll admit it up front, all right? I know it's 2024 and everyone's over just some guy booting up any old Pokemon game and doing a Nuzlocke. Between Emerald Kaizo, Run and Bun, and Blaze Black, nobody cares about boring old Black 2. But this isn't just any old story about a Pokemon Black 2 Nuzlocke. This is the story of a fallen angel, a false prophet, and a devil in disguise. You see, the run started the same as all of my others, choosing Tepig as my starter. This time, his name would be Piglet. Piglet was able to handily defeat Hugh's dumb Oshawott and aid me in catching Noir the Purloin. Soon after, even if I didn't know it yet, I found my fallen angel, Compass the Sawaddle. However, not having the faith in Compass that I should have from the start, I relegated Compass to the bench. Yet again in Floseki Ranch, the new team of three was able to handily defeat Hugh. Now it is worth mentioning here, this is run number 9. And for the previous 8, I had it in my mind that if I just caught Riolu in Floseki Ranch, it would be able to carry the early game for me and snowball right into Lucario later in the run. So you can only imagine my excitement when on this run, I caught the chosen one, Riolu. Now, similar to Compass, I was too naive to know that Riolu would not be the chosen one, but rather the opposite, a false prophet. But that's all for later. For now, I had to save somebody's dog, fight some elemental monkeys, and head back to Aspertia to battle Sharon. Piglet was able to successfully sweep the first 2 trainers leading up to Sharon. And honestly, Sharon's Patrat isn't even that bad. It's just this Lillipup. You see, Sharon is a little bit of a tryhard. And by that, I mean they like to use workup to sweep teams. But this time, I had a plan. My plan was to lead Piglet to take care of Patrat. Then, swap the chosen one in when Lillipup comes out for free, since in every run prior, Lillipup always uses work up twice. But then, when Lillipup attacked on turn 3, I would just press counter. Easy W. Except, that didn't happen this time. This time, Sharon only pressed work up once and did massive damage to the chosen one. So I had to swap the chosen one in for Compass, and this was the first sign of the true power of Compass, being able to clean up the Sharon fight with no problem. And just like that, the stage was set. The stage was set for Riolu to consistently underperform, and for Compass to not only pick up after Riolu, but save the run several times. Now, nothing else super interesting happens between Sharon and Roxy, except for picking up what is the worst possible encounter in the Verbank complex, Patrat. Or Bounce Suite, I called it. And to be honest, the Verbank gym wasn't that interesting either, except for this stupid goddamn stalling Whirlipede. Like, what the hell? This thing is so annoying and good at stalling, why? Now, after several turns, not only does Bounce Suite fall to this Whirlipede, but so does Noir, and yes, the chosen one, cementing its legacy not as a true prophet sent to save my runs, but a false one sent to destroy them. And do you want to guess who was able to clutch out this gym? You guessed it, the Pokemon with a 4 times weakness to poison, Compass. Now, this one act cemented Compass as a staple on the team right next to Piglet. Afterwards, me and Hugh joined forces with Roxy to chase Team Plasma to Castelia City, where they ran and hid in the sewers. This is where the real planning started for me. The planning for Elsa?
Elsa.
Elsa, the 4th gym in Black 2. Because you see, Alyssa had wiped out more gyms than I could count at this point. But to put that aside for a moment, yes, it will come back later, I picked up Buzz the Zubat in the Castelia sewers, or as he will soon be known, the Devil in Disguise. With Buzz now on the team, I quickly cleaned through the sewers, met Colress for the first time, and picked up Owies, the Woobat, in Relic Passage. Soon after, Piglet made quick work of Berg because, surprise, surprise, having a stab-fire type move is good in a grass-based gym. Who would have thought? Afterwards, I picked up the GOAT, Trubbish, on Route 4, who immediately died to Colress less than 5 minutes later. A battle that, yet again, mind you, Compass was there to win for the team when nobody else could. Now, after my weird conversation with the adult, I headed over to the desert resort for a nice relaxing trip. Relaxing. In the middle of all of my relaxing, I picked up Sand Dial, the key to defeating Elisa. Now, after quickly sweeping through what was half a dozen trainers, it was time for the Elisa battle. And I will say, going into this battle, I felt my most confident. I had a plan. I had the Pokemon to back up the plan. I was ready. My first move was sadly a mistake. I used Rollout, locking Piglet in battle no matter what. Good news is, Emolga actually used Volt Switch into Flaffy that avoided Rollout, breaking the lock. Flaffy, however, did immediately paralyze Piglet and then Volt Switch back into Emolga. But now here's the catch. Emolga knows Pursuit. And at this point, Piglet is within kill range for Pursuit. So switching Piglet out is essentially a death sentence. But if I were to keep Piglet in, Emolga can also use Volt Switch and still KO Piglet. So I was between a rock and a hard place, but I eventually ended up deciding to risk Pursuit and switch Compass in. Thankfully, that was the right call, and Volt Switch brought out Zebstrika. Now, this was a free switch into Sand Dial since Zebstrika would use Flame Charge, which Sand Dial resists. Now here, for some reason, Zebstrika uses Flame Charge again against Sand Dial, which gives me a free dig and actually procs Zebstrika's Citrus Berry in just one move. Now somehow I find myself in the exact same situation, where if the last Flame Charge Zebstrika just used was a high roll, Sand Dial lives, uses Dig, and takes out Zebstrika. However, if it's a low roll, Sand Dial dies, and the run is essentially over. Now this choice was a lot easier for me because Sand Dial was my only Dig user, and Dig was my only answer to Zebstrika. So in my head, it was a win or die trying situation. So I pressed Dig. Zebstrika moves first, and Sand Dial lived the Flame Charge. So on the exact next turn, Zebstrika feints to Sand Dial, removing the ace from the equation. The next Pokemon out was Flaffy. Now at this point, any move would kill Sand Dial, and I knew Flaffy was faster. So I switched into my best option, Compass. Compass was easily able to get Elisa to use her Hyper Potion on Flaffy, so the move after, I switch in Buzz, looking to make a risk. The risk was to switch in Buzz, hit Confuse Ray, and buy me more time. Unfortunately, I switched Buzz into a Thunder Wave. Now this is the start of the end here. I press Confuse Ray, full paralysis. Flaffy hits a Volt Switch. Thankfully, Buzz lives. I press Confuse Ray again because, there's no way I get full paralysis twice, right? Wrong. 2 full paralysis. At this point, I have to make a switch. So I switch in the other bat, Owies, simply for a sack. Volt Switch kills Owies in one hit and brings out Emolga. Now here, I will admit, I made a mistake. Instead of just bringing out Compass, I threw out Buzz and swapped into Compass, meaning that Compass had to just eat a takedown from Emolga without a chance to attack. Now at this point, all but giving up on Buzz, I switch him in one last time. But this time, I do it as a sacrifice. That way I can get Piglet in for free, hoping that Piglet can just close this out. Sadly, Piglet soon also falls to Volt Switch, and the rest of the team soon after. With Compass on 15 HP and Sansdial on 8, they just stood no chance. Quick Attack cleans up the team in 2 turns. All in all, did I play the battle perfectly? No, and I'll admit that. I did make mistakes along the way in the battle, but I cannot possibly put into words my disappointment in not only the Chosen One, the false prophet, and the absolute betrayal from Buzz, the devil in disguise. But at the end of the day, I cannot fault my fallen angel Compass, the Swadloon. May you rest easy, soldier.